Hello, welcome back to Blender Social Life. I will be doing another improvisations, creating character using just grease pencil. So this is kind of roughly what you're gonna create. So you can create something like this very quickly. I'm holding shift here, so I can flip. So if we just reset this mixer mode, and we want this to be like as freeform as possible, and let's do that. Let's hit tilde and go to the front view. Gonna delete everything. So the process that I'm doing is it's unusual, I think, but grease pencil is kind of powerful for this. I'm currently using Blender 3.0 latest versions, and I'm gonna do quick drawing using grease pencil. And this version doesn't have the tool up here. I don't know why, but if I go to the tool brush setting here, see, suddenly it appears. I think it's a bug. Still alpha version. And I'm gonna just make stroke, like it's a very free form kind of design. But I want to also activate, before I do anything, I will activate mirror. Go back to drawing, and let's just draw quick design. You can be very rough or make it really simple. So this for the arm, this is like a little bit too elaborate, but you can make it simple or complex. This is for the leg. If we make it like more complicated, then it's gonna start looking a little bit more it's too complex like this, right? If you start making like this, but you can always sculpt it using the thickness setting, and then you start to make like a muscle. It's alright, you can actually do it this way. And this is gonna be like just the base mesh. Okay, at this point, if I want to continue anyway, use like a drawing, I'm gonna snap it into stroke. So I can go to the top view, and it's gonna snap into the finger. So let's do it this way. And for the foot, also I'll do the same thing. Side view, it's gonna connect to the leg. So more or less we have like the foot, and we can use sculpt mode once again, and thickness, a bit of thickness there. We can do the opposite, holding control. So thick or thin. So I think this is a very cool method to get to give character a bit of muscle, or getting rid of it. You can see the silhouette. Okay, so make sure your character is not super flat from the side view. You can hit edit mode and then select all, and then put it on the ground. And also with the sculpt mode, you can use grab and move things a little bit. For example, on the side view, this is for the leg, so maybe increase this, reduce the strength a little bit. Give it a little bit of curve. We can adjust this slightly. So file, save as GP character. You can give it a name at some point. So this sculpt mode. So with the sculpt mode and thickness, you tend to get only, you know, it's symmetrical. So it's but if you start to grab and push and twist, you can make it less symmetrical, which is better if you're doing like a character design. But you can always do this in a sculpt mode, so you don't stop here. So anyway, let's say you're happy with this design, you like the silhouette, basic, but let's apply the mirror, and then we gonna use curve. Okay, actually right click, convert to Bezier Curve. Now we have the grease pencil, the original grease pencil, and now we have this curve. This curve itself is a geometry that we can add a depth, right? So we can have this something, this rough detail. You can increase the resolution so you have something that's a bit rounded, and also you can increase or reduce the number of points here. With the curve, you have a lot of details. It's up to you whether you want to reduce it or not. I'm gonna show it to you anyway. Using decimate curve, you can go to 0. With 0, you have only line, curve line, and you get a unusual looking character, like the more simplified version, but you want to keep it a little bit. Okay, now we have this. The character probably still too thin, but that's okay. It's still actually just the base mesh. If you want to add more details at this point, you can use grease pencil and once again draw on top of this mesh, right? Yeah, okay, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm gonna save. I'll try to save different version of the blend and maybe give you the original blend. Right click, convert to mesh. Now the curve is becoming mesh. Curve mesh object, you can now just remesh it. So this is the quickest way to get to turn this into a mesh object. You might lose some details, but you just play around with the voxel size, make it smaller, and you should have some details back. And you can actually at this point you can use sculpt mode and inflate some of the areas. Some areas might disappear, right, like this around here. So I'm inflating some areas around hips. Oops, too much. You can push and pull actually. But it's totally up to you. Actually, with my character, I'm simply using box. So I'm adding hips. Some areas I can just add box, simple box, and then get the details back. I want to also mirror this beforehand. I'm gonna hit apply all. So at this point you can take a look at your character. Okay, looking pretty cool, pretty solid. You can try using quad remesh to get a simplified version. Let's try. Preserve sharp. Okay, just make this like 12,000 face. Hit OK. You might lose some of the details, but take a look. Take a look anyway. You can. At this point, it's up to you whether you want to continue with sculpting or you want to add more details using grease pencil on top of this. Probably that's better. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, it's definitely losing too much details around the arm, but you can always flip it. It's not bad. and the mirror, flip the mirror, apply. You can actually flatten some areas. Use sculpt and then flatten. I like the flatten brush, and then enable symmetry. So flattening the foot areas. What is this? Okay. Flatten the hands. Could flatten the face or sculpt the face a little bit. Give it some expression. This is still like the low res base mesh of the character, but at this point it's really fun to work with, and you can always go to the side view and then use the grab, and you can reshape the character a little bit, just matching the original grease pencil, or even improve this further. Give it a bit of shape. Right click, shade smooth. So you have your base character pretty much. You can smart UV project. So you can actually do a UV painting. Oops, is it failed? Okay. Success. Let's try File, Export, FBX. Save it on the desktop. Let's try this with our character. Upload a new character. So very quickly, you know, from something that's you know, like silhouette, grease pencil, you can start to get like a solid looking character. It's better, of course, to start with a concept drawing, but this and this actually quite solid. I mean, you can quickly see where your character is going to be. Of course, there's a lot to be improved, but it's a free form, you know. Don't worry too much. You can spend hours just adding details. Still, like I said, this is just the base mesh. If you really want, you save this. You create another grease pencil, and then draw, and use surface snapping. So it's gonna snap on the surface, and you start drawing your character, just like adding the details that you want. Think of this like a muscle, additional muscle on top of your character, or maybe it could be like a cloth. But I think muscle might do the job. So additional muscle can even be like the details. So mirror this, and then sculpt mode, thickness. So your character is no longer super flat. You're adding details and fat, right? And you can, you know, do the, oops, actually, just click, right click, convert to Bezier. You still have the original grease pencil anyway. The original can be hidden. Now you have this extra details, increase the depth, increase the resolution here. Smooth, 0 resolution here. Curve, clean up, decimate. Once again, we have control. Okay, merge this together. Convert to mesh. Fill the hole. Select this and that. Join. Just remesh once again. And then mirror. Starting to get shapes, but really at this point what you want to do, maybe simply use Blender Sculpt. So Sculpt Mode and grab, okay, grab. Start reshaping your character. This is the thumb. It's the middle finger. This one, okay, this one's looking pretty weak, but you can always reshape it. Okay. Now look at it from every angle and start to add shapes. Of course, this character is looking naked. The things like mouth, eyes, that can be added later, especially the eyeballs, the nose, the mouth, those sort of details. You can see these areas now is looking much better, much more solid. If you want to add details very, very quickly, you can also use things like draw and dynamic topology, and use something like snake hook. Snake hook, so it's cool to use. Okay, now we have something completely different. Let's look at our character. Yep, this one looks basic. This one a little bit more solid. File save, file export, FBX. Save as different version. So Mixamo is always pretty cool to do this kind of thing. You can quickly check your character with a bit of motion capture animations. Look, this one, super basic, right? But we already improved the character simply by adding another layer of grease pencil in the process. So I really like the process, and what the tools you use will shape your final creations. And grease pencil, I think grease pencil and the curve processing is really, it feels very organic. It feels like a free form. Okay, again, this part is easy, just put a simple step. Knee, groin, standard skeleton, 3 chain fingers, next. Okay, I need to have some cloth. Maybe some kind of ogre. As long as you character like a single mesh like this, usually Mixamo will accept it. Sometimes it fails during auto rigging. So once you have your character ready, animated, you can export it as FBX, export it from Mixamo, bring it into Blender, and yeah, you're done basically. So that's cool. You can send it to Arrow, but oh wait, Altman idle. So you can see your character. Okay, maybe the arm is too short. You can fix it. All right, that's the whole process basically. Pretty simple and straightforward. Hopefully you enjoy the whole process. Give it a try, and I want to see what you create. Hopefully you find this useful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.